for the record, this is officially the start of Steelheart Rusted Souls, episode 5. Well, to me, you will be unique in all the world. When we last left our coterie, they had settled at Salacious. Leonti finally arriving, having been escorted by Silk's staff. We find ourselves in midst of this gathering of the minds. Silk, Leonti, Ben, Joshua, Marcus, Mason, the few donors who are still gathering themselves and slipping back out the back door, down and around the hall towards the actual open areas of Salacious happening in the background as Leonti pulls himself together from having potentially let slip the beast. With the slight pointing of fingers and the innocent, hey, it wasn't me, it was the new guy from Marcus, Silk settles in, folding her hands in her lap and waiting until the last donor departs. Once the door closes, Silk waits a beat longer, looking from one member of the coterie to the next, as the very real problems they are facing settles across them. Between Marcus's playing of his recorded stealth of the lines used by the witch hunters to the very real fact that Mamela is no longer amongst them, there is a feeling of fate. There's a momentous occasion. It is the gathering of the clouds before the storm that could very well blow away all that is. And so she waits, looking from one member to the next, finally settling her gaze somewhere in the mid-space between everyone gathered. The thing that's important, I believe, is that we can no longer do what we formerly were. When dealing with witch hunters, the standard procedure is to allow them to burn themselves out, allow them to exhaust themselves, present no definitive, definable realities that we exist anywhere they might be. Unfortunately, do Mamela sacrifice to ensure our safety? That is no longer a truly viable option. I have not been in close contact with Asus recently. I know that he is still amongst the living, but in this case, I believe that it may be time to temporarily bury the hatchet between ourselves and the Anarchs so that we can properly mount an offense against these invaders, against these shock troops who have on multiple occasions throughout Gary's history caused the loss of an indeterminate number of our kindred. I believe that it would be best for us to take this fight to them. I believe it will be best for us to make sure that this is a battle of attrition. We have time on our side. We have an intimate understanding as to what our city is. And united, there's none of them who can stand against us. As you all have managed to exist in that middle space between the tower and the rabble, I'd like your input. I'd like your support more so. But your input will do for now.
Well, for my side of things, the theists have made a mistake on a basic level in the fact that they assumed that we would never find the radio signals. We can use that against them. In my myriad piles of old information about radio equipment, I can pull up all the old military frequencies and start broadly scanning them. And then it would just take putting 3 antennas in Gary to figure out where the sources are. We could get within, say, 100 meters of any given source with 3 or 4 antennas placed around the city.
I would agree. That's a very effective plan, so that we can try to monitor their radio and their communication. The most deadly weapon in war is information. The one who controls it controls everything.
Dr. Bishop, Mr. McGinnis.
Well, I believe we need to take down the hunters as fast as possible before they have enough training with the whites that I'm guessing they're dealing with. That's what I would do if I was in charge. Have them go against the feral ones first, which could be more dangerous, but they're less intelligent, therefore.
What I've been thinking about is, do we have any ghouls under your pay silk that might get some information, in human circles? There has to be humans who are seeing these agents, secret men in black.
They are considerably less active during the day. Their activities thus far from all of our scouts and our information sources state that they're executing simple patrols, blending in with law enforcement, making themselves less known. Based on what took place at the Abandoned King, these witch hunters are decidedly less quiet.
Go ahead.
No, after you. You were saying, Mr. Farmer?
Well, with the revelation that it's probably the hunters that went after the Abandoned King, has that changed the political landscape in a way that we can take advantage of? Could we give this recording to Evelyn and maybe she'd calm down and listen?
I am hoping so. David and Cassandra are reaching out to Evelyn now. I'm hoping that David's penchant for driving to the heart of the matter and Cassandra's ability to deduce and discern will help us in their negotiations. If they are successful and we are able to bury the hatchet and we are able to reach an armistice, we will convene a larger gathering so that we can plot how best to operate as a whole. Right this moment, because of our shared experiences with the whites, I would like you all to be my agents, more specifically, our agents in this. You each have existed here in Gary with Modius and Juggler in operation far longer than most others. You managed to not choose a side. You managed to walk that line between the two, and I believe that is more important in this than ever before.
So while the Tower and the Anarchs form battle lines, as it were, you want us to be scouts and information gatherers?
A strike force of information and execution all in one fell swoop. Between the skills you all have, there should not be many that could stand against you if you are united and driven toward a singular cause. Your success when dealing with the whites, your successes in managing to stave off the few attacks against yourselves has proven to me that together, there's not much you all can't accomplish.
Well, I mean, we have accomplished a lot of chaos. That's mostly chaos is like the most thing I can think of.
Yes, chaos is a letter.
Well, I can certainly hold up my end. I can, if they start talking on the radio again, I can find them. That's 1950s technology. I combine that with a computer and I can get us there pretty good.
If we can catch one to interrogate it, I would maybe bring it back to my new clinic. And I think with me and Mason, we should be able to get out all the information we need. Who knows how much the grunts might have, though. We might need to get someone higher up, like a lieutenant of some sort.
Well, it depends on how well trained these hunters are and if they've been around for a long time or a short amount of time. I have a feeling their leader's probably that whatchamacallit guy.
The crazy one with the flamethrowers?
Yeah, that guy.
Let's not catch that guy. Let's catch somebody below that guy.
Oh, why don't we just Mason motions like with motions like he's holding a cord and just twists it around and just snap. Break up net.
Best thing we can do is have someone on that side, a ghoul.
Well, the one thing that not a lot of us have are contacts within kind politics. I mean, all my friends are computer nerds and maker hippies.
The kind I know aren't exactly the kind who have been dealings with police or government.
That may be a very good thing at the end of the day, after it's all said and done. As we spoke about, Dr. Bishop, I'd like you to utilize some of the space here available to house yourself. And I'd like to send a similar offer to you, Mr. Farmer, as a base of operations, as it were, so that this particular strike team, that this particular force can consolidate their skills and have a place to operate from. We are completely and totally off the radar. Those who know of us thus far, I've managed to ensure that unless they are arriving here, they can't speak about here. It's taken quite some time, but we're nearly to the point of having 100% of our security in place. After the bombing attempt, I thought it prudent to double and redouble our security.
Well, I can definitely move the equipment I need for this process here. That's not a problem. I have spares, I have parts. One trip in the love bug, and I'd be all set up.
Excellent. Then we are of an accord. We have an understanding. I unfortunately do have other responsibilities that I need to attend, and I will leave you all to make your final preparations. If you should need me, the phone there, she motions to the actual landline that is almost completely and totally unheard of these days on the far table. It is the only line out of this room, and is the only line outside of this building that connects to anywhere else. And with that, she stands, inclines her head, and leaves you all to a few moments of discussion. Once she leaves, you all realize that her having led you here and her staff having led you here, they purposely took circuitous routes to ensure that on your way back, if you were to choose to leave on your own, it would be most difficult. Not impossible, merely difficult.
I can't say I'm in love with the idea of using her space.
Finish that thought. They might be listening to us. Just probably listening to us. Not might.
Well, the only option we have is to keep talking.
I mean, yeah, but these hunters are scaring me.
Well,
Oh, crap. I lent my car out to Mel. Mel's now missing.
it'll be somewhere in the city. We'll check the impound lots.
Do you have any tracking on it for an expensive car?
I ripped it out.
Oh, well.
Well, it's a 1960s Shelby, so I don't think any high tech is in it.
Oh, you lent him the pretty car?
No, I lent him the car that was a gift from my sire. they can't really trace that car back to me. Only Marion.
Good thing about something that rare too, they can't exactly scrap it. Those parts are kind of antiques.
No, it'll probably just get towed.
If he was even driving it when he was caught.
I would imagine he would.
He wasn't. Remember, he left directly from Silk when we all split up. And I want to make something very, very clear. He is not missing. He is dead and gone.
So, what we're thinking is find one, catch one, and bring it back.
I mean, with my charm, if we catch a low-ranking one, I could probably, a low-ranking hunter, I could probably, me or Silk, could probably tame him.
And if all else fails, Joshua can scare him to death.
I wish I was more of a master of dominate. I'd be able to train him a bit more.
And maybe Leo over there could maybe torture some information out of him.
The idea of torture, for those of you who have a humanity above 6, is...
Wait, would I have a humanity above 6 right now? We never rolled for how.
Yes, we didn't settle that. Yes, there is still those stains are still hanging in the air.
Oh yeah, I still have one stain. I forgot.
But in the now, your humanity is where it was.
Okay. Well,
Where was that?
You were saying, Leoncy? So with a plan on the table that would require the investment of no small intent of harm, and conversations drawn to a relative close, minutes pass, seconds more, and Silk is finally returning. Her visage, the look of her face, is decidedly less pleased, but there's not much she can do about that at the moment. And instead of taking her seat back amongst you all, she begins to pace a small bit.
what's wrong, Silk?
We have significant issues.
Like new issues?
A furthering of our issues. A decidedly unpleasant furthering of our issues. It, unfortunately... Did I lose everybody?
No.
No,
I'm here.
Okay.
My screen blanked out. Sorry. Give me one quick second here. There we go. Okay. So it is with no small amount of worry that the information has reached our ear that the agents who are hounding our city have set up a location at the GCIA. There's also purportedly another mobile location that they have, which is circling the city, moving back and forth between the Maryville airport and GCIA. Neither of those two locations are far enough away where they can be here in moments if the information is true. It seems as if one of the anarchs, the Arthur, has revealed this information to Evelyn, who has shared this information with David and Cassandra. Cassandra believes that this is in fact the truth. It means that they are setting up a semi-permanent base of operations within moments of being here at the least inclination.
So they have one static and one mobile group.
Yes. And this changes things. They are not attempting to police the city. They are attempting to lay complete and total siege. This is akin to an enemy force digging in and building homes.
Well, that's not going to be allowable.
So they're not So they're probably not going to be coming at us with crossbows and swords.
Not their style.
Yeah. They go in under, the ruse of cops?
Yes, they are bolstering the local law enforcement as well as utilizing a unit of the state police to be permanently housed within the area. Things have grown considerably untenable. Have you all decided a course of action?
Sneaking in or grabbing one of the either low-ranking to mid-ranking hunters and swap them over to our side, or get information out of them.
We can't hurt him. It's best if we can. They don't even notice he left. He's just a turncoat now, or she.
Those are great generalized plans, but have we decided as to how you all might carry these options out?
Well, I have no sneaking abilities, so I would say either Leo puts his skills to the test, or Ben, I know you can sneak easily.
Well, we can use my idea to hunt to triangulate the mobile base whenever they're talking, or the static base, and take a target of opportunity.
Maybe put out some bait to get a small group away from the rest.
We are the small group away from the base.
I believe that they were referring to drawing out the people, drawing them out to some force.
Yes.
So we triangulate a location, put out somebody who would draw them, and grab one and run.
Just I think what they were saying is essentially just draw out a small group through an easy target for us having bait, and then either killing most of them and then taking one, or just take one in confusion of an ambush, something like that, so that it's not perceived as anything too suspicious. It's just bait and attack, not a capture operation.
Killing any of them might raise the threat level.
That's why I was thinking after I said that, like, we could just lure them in, ambush them, have a little bit of a fight, hopefully try to catch one in the chaos that we would create in this, and then retreat.
For the bait, what do you think we should use?
I could be bait.
Maybe I could change your appearance first so they don't put your face to a possible vampire.
Well, I mean, I don't want to suggest this, but you could probably do something with my face.
Just like a different nose, different brow lines, something simple, won't hurt too much, but would mess up the mudshot sketch that they're trying to make of you.
But you can put me back, right?
Yeah, I would maybe take a few pictures, different angles, so I make sure I put it back right, or else you're gonna have to heal it back yourself with blood and lots of pain. Wouldn't recommend.
Not the first time. Yeah. Seeing as I have little to no sneaking abilities, I would be the perfect bait.
Been just mostly listening to all these things bounce off each other, sighs for a moment. You can tell none of you have ever been in the armed forces. It's fine though. Look, okay, so this is what we're best off doing. Marcus, I need you to make a tracking device of some sort that can be mounted on their mobile vehicle in the confusion that we cause trying to capture one of them, so that we can track it back to their main base of operations and eventually hit both at the same time, hopefully destroying both to chase them back out of town.
The punch them really hard in the nose plan. I can dig it. I've got a couple of GPSs at the farm. Hot glue and a magnet makes it portable.
That works for me. I can do aerial support, drop it as it's moving by doing a fly pass. They won't notice it, hopefully, just long enough for it to get back to where their base of operations is. We triangulate both the mobile and the base of operations, and if it splits up again, then we can still hit both simultaneously. Hopefully, though, I want them both in the same spot, so we just have to hit one location really hard one time.
Okay, so we're going to need to go to the market regardless whether we use the triangulation plan or the GPS plan. I can rig them both up pretty quick.
Weren't you working on something for Arthur?
Yeah, that was not antenna related. I'm fairly certain he was making a boom boom.
Yeah, but we're gonna need something like that to destroy the bases. Anyway, so...
Well, I made spares, so as long as they all come out, I'll have enough for Arthur and for whatever you're planning.
Sounds good, then we can plan on leveling that bitch.
We're probably also going to need a fast getaway vehicle for those who can't transform into a fast bird of prey.
I mean, I have the ability to get a really fast vehicle really fast.
A two-seater, though.
No, not talking about my main vehicle. Yes, that vehicle's fast, but I've recently come across a lot more money because I just released because, you know, a lot of people are buying my books again, thankfully. So I can easily buy a supercar or just a fast sports car that can fit 4 people.
Maybe a Dodge Charger or Ford Taurus kind of blend in with police. Not actually stylish cars and maybe your taste, but they look like cop cars, especially if you get the bull bars attached. Maybe
it hurts my soul, but yeah, I could get that done. I could easily get that done. Buy it, no questions asked. No extra for no paperwork.
There's nothing that is impossible. Improbable, however, is another matter entirely. And with the plan laid out before you all are escorted out so that you can take your car to the farmer's market. As you all reach the farmer's market and begin the final steps of your fairly convoluted plan, at least the outstanding extra steps, it will require several rolls that we need. Marcus, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and technology for the completion? Not intelligence. You've already created the necessary portions of the boom boom. Now it's still in their making. In their construction, you already have the necessary parts there. Ben, I would need you to roll a wits plus survival. And Joshua, you will need to roll your wits and persuasion in regards to rebuilding Mason's face into someone else. And Mason, you will need to roll your charisma plus resources.
Yay. Now, do I get to use my beautifulness with that or no?
Mason would, but you don't look like Mason.
Oh, I have a cracked nose or something, so I'm no longer beautiful. Wow, harsh. Nobody harsh, but okay.
Marcus is, well, they're reconfiguring what's his face's face. I don't know what we're gonna call him now. I'm working on finishing up the wiring, and also just talking Leonti through where everything is in the market because he's never been here before.
Does anybody else hear heist music?
It is. Oh.
Question: can I use anything else but persuasion? I'm zeroing at that.
Yeah, I see. Do you have craft?
Let me check. No, my strongest stats are investigation, medicine, academics, and melee.
Okay. Well, that being the case, you have sufficiently masked who Mason is. He's memorable, but he's no longer Mason. He is 100% definitively a standout individual, but he doesn't look like Mason. In fact, if you're being completely and totally honest, he looks like the gift version or the wish version of a very handsome Nosferatu.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
Okay, I'm not the
Every
best
time I
plastic
look at
surgery.
him, minus 2 dice.
Don't be too mad at me, Mason.
I won't. Just as long as you can put me back after we're done.
You took those pictures for me to use for reference later, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then I should have no problem doing it without painful healing on your part.
That is the beauty of it all. Nothing is completely permanent, partially due to the very real fact that you are all dead. You are all unliving. You are all in a different state of being. And that's very, very helpful as in the construction of the various explosive devices, tracking implements, and the gathering of the necessary tools that you all will need for your operation. The sheer amount of work and effort put forth would literally have most people suffering from fatigue. You all not needing such petty distractions as water, rest, are able to accomplish the... Well, that being the case, it is a little early for us all, but let's take a quick 10-minute and be back here at 22 after the hour. All right, so we are back. We have plans in place. We have implements of destruction at the ready. And as far as attracting their attention, how will you all go about doing so? Will you utilize the tracking and triangulation attempts, or will you patrol the streets so that you can find them in motion?
Well, we can do both almost simultaneously, and whoever succeeds first throws a flare. I just need to get these 3 receivers near somebody's Wi-Fi and as far apart as possible in the city.
I mean, so what? One in like the rich neighborhood, the other in the poor neighborhood, and the other one in the mid-range neighborhood?
One here, maybe one at the dive, and not Silk's because she's got her place closed off, but
My place?
Your place or Joshua's old clinic, both of them have Wi-Fi.
Yep, you installed the Wi-Fi at my place.
Yeah, I don't even need to hack that one.
You do realize that would put your triangulation in a nearly straight line, correct?
Let's see. Did I forget where the dive was? Yes, I did. What's up here?
Outdoors.
His house, my house.
Luckily, You all are aware that part of the major influx from U.S. Steel was train laden, which means there are several hundred miles of track, meaning there are several signal stations along the line in that area, and it is in fact closer to GCIA. It's just north of the toll road, so you could reach there by boat, you could reach there by car. There are several different little small paths you all could drive through, as well as if you're looking for something considerably further away to increase the range of your triangle, you can always utilize Ace's scrapyard, which would effectively create a triangle for you all. Leonte, being aware as to what Pomp and the does over in South Haven, also knows that while it's considerably outside of Gary, is outside of Hobart and Portage, Pomp is very relatively high-tech dependent. There's lots of information flowing through his barony that is more or less electronic only. So there are tons and tons of cell towers and hotspots and signal boosting equipment all throughout South Haven. It is one of the most connected areas within range.
So what do we think would be easier to get to, the scrapyard or Southampton? I mean, the market is right between both of them. The scrapyard is closer to the airport.
I say we go with the airport since we know they're already there.
Okay. So I set up the one here because that's just a couple of plugs. I can give one to Marcus, and he can go with somebody up to his house, and that'll be self-installing. Marcus will just have to follow some very simple instructions, and then I can do the one over at Ace's.
Wait, Marcus saying, I'm pretty sure you mean Mason, but yeah.
Sorry. They're very simple instructions.
Is that Marcus saying Marcus?
Read the t-shirt, buddy.
So you guys have your plan to set up your grid. That means that once Marcus installs and sets up his home location, i.e. there at the farmer's market, who is going with towards Aces and who is going with towards Masons?
I hand off a small laptop to Silk's driver and tell him to get back undercover at the Salacious so that Silk can get the same information I'm getting.
Okay. Well, they have the locations of the places that on the tech thing.
Well, no, the laptop will receive the information and let her know what we're seeing.
Oh, okay.
But I'm one of the ones that has to go to Aces because getting into his Wi-Fi is going to be a minute, and it's not something I can write on a napkin.
He might have a premonition that you're going.
So what are the teams?
Also, I can be sneakier than most of you guys.
Basically, the people who can do stealth should go to, what's his name's?
Aces.
Yeah.
Mason, you go to your place.
Yep.
Take Joshua.
I am not a man who can make his presence on. So I'll go with Mason.
So, Ben, do you want to go with me to Aces?
Sure, you're gonna need me just in case he tries to kick your butt.
This is very true.
You should take Leo too. He can stealth pretty well, I hear. Although he's more of a sniper.
Oh, that can be handy too. So the three of us, Leonti, me, and Ben, to Aces. You and Joshua to your place.
Mm-hmm.
I scrabble down the instructions in big letters
Have you decided on a fake name yet, Mason, that I'll refer to you when we're out in public with your new identity?
Mason looks in the mirror and just like thinks on what name this face would have.
Ralph, which is what he nearly does every time he stares into the mirror. Unfortunately, because he has a different face, it does not change what powers and curses of his blood run through him. Looking upon the wreckage that is this entity's face causes an existential dread in Mason each and every time he casts a gaze upon it.
So Ralph. Ralph.
I had a dog named Ralph once. You sort of look like him actually now.
A dog?
Yeah, he was a big old pit bull.
Well, pit bulls are adorable.
He had nice scars from his face from his past owner.
It didn't help that he was a pit bull chihuahua mix, right?
Oh my god, that must be adorable.
Oh, Doc, on your way to Mason's house, maybe stop off at your office, your old office, and see if you have any sedatives lying around, because we may need those.
That is on the way.
Those are always in short supply from how I get my blood. I can spare some, though.
Whatever you've got could be useful. Ben, are you willing to get into the love bug, or are you going to fly over us?
Won't be of any physical help if you are flying.
Yeah, no problem with me getting in the car. I trust you to drive.
At least somebody does. As you all suit up and boot up so that you all head towards your particular locations, your particular target areas, Silk's driver comes barreling back to the farmer's market, hopping out of the cars up to the world is on fire. Oh my fucking god, there are roadblocks almost everywhere. I couldn't get past them. I'm afraid. And he's stuttering and stammering and falling over his words. The fact that he bears a clear bullet wound that he has not bothered to address lets you know just how dedicated the roadblock he ran into might have been.
Well, crap. Wait, these roadblocks are everywhere?
I tried making it back to Salacious. I'm guessing that they're everywhere. This is fucking ridiculous. The world is just going fucking crazy. I can't. Oh my god. And as you all listen to him stammer and stumble, realize that unlike you all, he is not Kindred.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Mason puts a hand over his mouth because he's kind of smiling because he kind of thinks it's funny because he's probably the main cause for all the robots.
Well, that leaves a few different options. I think one of them would be very well suited to your current appearance, Mason. The sewers.
No.
Nosferatu now. You would fit right down. Right.
Wait. We have two problems. A, this guy's bleeding, so we should address that. The other is the roadblocks. But the roadblocks means that they've split their forces, which means we just got to find a roadblock if we're going to try to capture somebody. Go with the original find and capture plan.
Joshua, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll intelligence and medicine? And Ben, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll intelligence and survival for me, please?
Well, don't we stop at like Josh's medical place on the way to the farmer's market?
Joshua, you are immediately aware of the stammering, the inability to directly address the leaking profusely bullet wound lets you know without a shadow of a doubt that he is fully into shock.
Oh shit. Josh was gonna try to get him to lay down on whatever tables nearby.
They're alive.
And try to staunch the bleeding.
Ben, the moment that Joshua starts taking care of Silk's driver, you flash back to the foundational moments of life, not your unlife. Foundational moments of your life, which were war, which was the effects of bullet wounds, knife wounds, and the occasional shovel to the head, and worse, to people. People in shock rarely care about their surroundings. They're unable to properly address their surroundings, which means, without any shadow of a doubt, any steps to cover one's tracks, to hide one's trails, to otherwise obfuscate where one may be heading or escaping to, go out the window.
Eyes go wide and fuck. They're gonna follow him back here. Shit.
Can we? Is there a way to tell if a Kain is a ghoul or not?
Sure, drink their blood.
I mean, is Mason angry enough about this guy?
There's blood all over him. Right now.
Mason just sated himself, so that shouldn't be that big of a problem.
Oh, always a problem. There's a magical, ineffable quality to drinking something's life that is irresistible.
So as soon as Ben says what she, as soon as Ben says what she says, Marcus pulls the barn doors closed and yells at Renfield to bring up all the security cameras on the external.
How many fights are we going to have here?
That is a good question indeed, because as Renfield comes online, immediately firing up the screens, the famous, at least amongst you, bridge right there at Liverpool is lit up with the red and blue lights of police cars and police vehicles.
Okay, so, you know what? I am going to just see if this guy's useful or not. I take a little bit of his blood because I am furious right now because I am tired of dealing with cops because of other stupidity. Well, mostly mine, but this time it was someone else's.
Yes,
there's not that much blood left.
Just a little taste.
Do you sink Fang or do you lap?
Lap, I guess.
Okay, well, that's a little bit kind of you. Would you be so kind as to roll 1/3 your humanity? 1/3 of your humanity and your willpower. Your target number is 2. If you receive less than 2, the fangs come out, and Silk's driver may not continue to exist unless, of course, someone stops you.
1/3 of 6. Or was it?
1/3 of your humanity.
1/3
Ben is gonna move the car inside.
Sorry, wait, my brain just blanked out while they're trying to do math.
Alright, so 1/3 of your humanity.
Okay,
Which,
it's 7, not 6.
okay, so that's 2, because it's still rounded down. And what's your unspent willpower? You add 2 to it and give it a roll. Your target number is, in fact, 2.
Okay. 3 plus 2 is... Oh, wait. Hey!
You all freeze as Mason bends himself towards Silk's driver. The very real specter of his beast rises to the fore, and his eyes go bloodshot for a second. The veins protrude. His fangs slip into position like a switchblade opening, yet he manages to lightly, and the struggle is clear in every muscle of his body as the inclination to sink Fang is so very potent, so very close. And tasting his blood, Mason, is borderline magical. It is as if you have managed to bring yourself very, very close to the precipice of pleasure. You don't go falling over, but that edge is so very close. You know that if you indulge a moment more, that good common sense, good logic will escape you. the siren's call of pleasure and hedonism. It's just there in that blood, which is leaking all over the farmer's market as Ben drives the SUV into barn doors.
So, is he a ghoul?
Very much so.
Okay. So he's a little bit useful.
You are one step bonded to Silk, by the way, so that you are aware mechanically.
Who, me? Or the ghoul?
Mason is one step
Rule's
bonded.
completely bonded to her,
Oh.
being her goal. I imagine.
Well, that's scary. I almost ripped this guy's throat out, though, if I failed, because I just noticed it would have been a bestial failure.
I was standing right over. I actually had a chance maybe to roll against that, push you
To stop
away.
you, yes. You would have had to restrain him physically and find another way to satiate that need that beats is
strength do you have?
part of everyone.
Unaltered 1.
Oh, I don't think you would have been able to hold Mason back. Like, not trying to, force my way through it. If you did try to do that, Mason has 3 strength. He might have broken your arm.
Marcus, what's your passive stealth, by the way?
My passive stealth?
Yeah.
I believe it's a fat fucking goose egg.
You don't have any dots in stealth?
I have no dots in stealth.
But you
Okay.
went Osphocate? That actually that's kind of weird.
Well, I can just turn invisible, so that helps.
All right. So as you all watch this melodrama of the human and beast flit across Mason's face, and he manages to attain the victory, and Ben pulls the SUV into the farmer's market, Renfield goes absolutely berserk as you all realize that they are starting at one end of Liverpool and working their way towards the other. They are literally staging a house-to-house search. They will be to the farmer's market within moments.
Now I have a back door for a reason.
Who can help me?
Wait, you do? Why didn't we use it last time?
Because it's just a door, it doesn't let cars through.
Last time, people tried to attack us.
Those were just anarchs being all nosy. These are cops. This is a masquerade issue now.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so Renfield's showing me that people are headed down my street, Riverdale, down the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
Okay, so I throw what I need in the backpack and in my arms, and I show everybody why I picked where I live.
What? Meaning gun?
No, if you go out the back door of my house to the river, there's an old trestle bridge for trains that's abandoned, but the bridge is still there. We can cross the water and get into the neighborhood to the north.
Oh, no, wait.
One problem. Who can help me take the Sulch driver?
Oh, phew.
Us.
I did not take that folklore block.
We just need to figure a way to pack him up and get him out, because we gotta go. Unless you want to get in a fight right now.
I hopped him on my shoulder, but I'll be a lot slower. Someone to help take his legs, and we'll just carry him out.
All right. So
Ben sighs and grabs him and throws him over her shoulder.
Or that.
Joshua, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and medicine -1 die? You need 3 successes to have properly staunched the bleeding. Each success less than that means that he will continue losing and leaking blood over Ben as you all make your way out. While that happened, who amongst the coterie does not have stealth? We understand that Marcus does not.
Me. Wait.
So that's 2. Leonti, Ben, Joshua, who has stealth?
I have 0 stealth.
That's 3.
I have 2 in stealth.
This is an old cheat.
-1 willpower at 4 now.
So let's see now. I think that I have 3 dots in stealth.
All right, so you are You would be rolling for the group. You would lose 3.
And what do I add to that?
Hang on. You would lose 3. It would be dexterity and stealth. You would lose 3, but you would gain 1 from Ben. And give it a roll. And then we'll roll their awareness and see where you land.
He only gets 1 from me. I have 2.
Correct. You're assisting. Each one of you all would have either added or subtracted 1 from
that's
making the roll.
4 in total. 4, 1, and what is it? Just 4 and 1?
Yep.
Or, okay.
Okay. So as you all bug out and make it to the trestle bridge, he is leaking something fierce. Unfortunately, with that leaking is not leaving droplets behind you, it's leaving something worse. His grunts of pain as the jostling as you all make your way across the trestle bridge. You just across. Who has the lowest dexterity? They'd be the last person in the line of kindred fleeing from the onslaught of SASH agents masquerading as GPD.
I've got 3 decks.
I've got 3 as well.
I have 3.
I'm at 2.
All right, Ben, you're bringing up the rear, carrying the driver, doing your best to keep him as comfortable as possible. You sadly have done this far too often, at least while during your living days. It was not an everyday occurrence, but it was often enough with the stress of the situation that it was ingrained in you to do so. And as such, take a quick glance over your shoulder and realize that they're bypassing the farmer's market. Even though there are tracks of vehicles that lead inside, somehow in their immediate appearance of looking at the tracks, they knew that neither of those tracks were SUV tracks. And they began searching the area, spotting you all over the bridge, and immediately calling for backup. You hear and see them as they're mouthing into their handhelds, and 2 begin to take up the chase. You can hear them from a distance calling out, "Hey, you, come back here! Hey, which one I should come?"
Mason, you completely mic'd out.
Huh? Oh, I wasn't talking. I was holding back a laugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going.
So I hear them behind us. Are they wearing goggles, perchance?
Goggles? No.
No. Okay, so they're on Mark 1 eyeballs. Darn.
They are picking up the chase, and you are sure as you stand that you know what that call was for. It's clear that their mark ball may arise in the other portion across the river. They are attempting to cut off your aggressive escape. They are attempting to wall in for severe questioning. And there's a foot race of sorts.
If they're even cops.
What is your plan?
I mean, I can't shoot at them, and I don't think I have that many throwing knives left on me.
I do believe that I have a pistol.
You have a pistol, and you said you wanted it like an op hidden in your trench coat.
Yeah.
It's a 308 sniper.
Yeah. So for this instance, he'd probably be he would probably just pull out his pistol and take a quick shot at them.
Okay, firing from the hip. Go ahead, roll dexterity and firearms.
Yeah. Wow.
So as you all take flight across the trestle bridge with 2 police officers bringing up the rear, one on his mobile, his handheld to call for assistance, the other using that time to close the distance, he is knocked off his feet as Leonte draws down and fires with far too much accuracy. There's only one outcome for that pink mist that explodes into the air as the officer goes down.
Marcus is going to hang back and let Ben pass him.
And Ben's gonna put on speed so that I can get off the trestle bridge with the guy over my shoulder and get as far off the bridge as I can.
As his partner goes down, he begins immediately shouting into the handheld. You hear it from there. We've got a 999. We got a 999.
Joshua's not fast, nor is he very good at fighting. As he'll try to take on his much better combat form.
And as Ben speeds off the bridge, Leonti still holding.
Yeah, I was thinking that Leon would have tried to aim at the guy who with the mic, the guy on the mic, not the guy who was chasing. But I mean, either one works.
Okay.
Marcus is just trying to shoo everybody off of the trestle bridge, get everybody off.
Mm.
And there's trees to the left and a dirt path to the right as you come off the bridge. The dirt path leads into the neighborhood that Joshua will remember fondly, and so will Mason, because that's where the park was, where we had to rescue him from the Rentapigs.
Yes. So, knowing that the area is closing down, the circle is folding in on itself. There is a downed officer behind you all. There's a neighborhood ahead of you all, and you know that there are other forces en route. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everyone amongst the kindred understand, will know and have memorized certain calls, certain 10 codes, certain emergency codes that are used. 9 pretty much means bring everyone. It means bring every available officer, and if
We've seen this before.
Unavailable, to bring even more. What decidedly is everyone attempting to accomplish?
Mason, while running with the group, he asks Marcus if there's a car there waiting for us.
Oh no. This is my last minute emergency. Everything else has gone completely wrong. Escape route.
Okay, then I'd like to now. The song I posted in Player Forum is perfect for this moment.
Maybe.
We might have to make a stand there. We might be the most chaotic group of kindred.
This is Jerry we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be that bad, honestly.
What I am looking for is a place to quickly get into and a way out of view to take the injured guy into so that we can maybe stash him or all hide out. So that's what I'm looking for.
The houses along Willow Drive tend to have outhouses and work sheds. They're the upper crust of the lower crust. So they tend to have wood shops, separate garages. So all along Willow Drive, which is to the right, you're going to find houses with tool sheds and shit in the back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Joshua's going to try to get behind, bun her down and hide somewhere out of the officer's sight before he activates horde form to not completely break the master's knee and them see him transform in front of them.
Marcus is going to dodge off to the left and get in the trees real quick to break line of sight with everyone.
Leonti, Mason,
Yeah.
your plans?
Okay, so wait, what is around me essentially?
There's a big sconce of trees to the left at the end of the bridge. So when you're coming off the bridge, if you look to your left, there's trees. And then further along, there's the neighborhood. To your right is a dirt path that leads up to Willow Drive, which is just a standard residential street, and houses line both sides.
Would you call me insane if I was looking at the map right now?
Let's see. I think that I have an ability that could help me. The discipline. I just need to understand what it actually does. I'm not there. I don't really know exactly. It's unseen path. What does that discipline do?
Makes you invisible.
Yeah, I know that is, but I know it does that. I'm just like, I'm trying to
First
think
level of Osphate basically allows you, if you stand perfectly still, you're basically invisible. And seen path, you're allowed to move as long as you don't mess with anything, manipulate too much, hurt anyone. People will avoid
yeah. So
you.
if I can I could activate. So then here's my second question: would I be able to see the officer that called in? I can see him and he can see me. So
Yes.
this is gonna be difficult then.
You basically have to break line of sight with everyone around to.
I know. That's what I'm trying to think of how to do.
About to enter a residential area, meaning you can hide in the backyard of one of these one of these countless houses that are over here on,
And then just
and
then just move as I please to get activated and then get out. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll do that.
you just have to roll stealth, probably, right?
Unseen passage and automatically succeeds if you don't give off any strong odors, do anything sudden, and nobody can see you. You just become invisible. The problem is that even in unseen passage, if you do something like bump into a door, then they get a chance to see you.
All right.
Well-
So yes.
I'll go into the residential area and hide and activate unseen passage in some place that has no people.
Okay. So here's what we're going to need from you. Ben, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and stealth -1? Joshua, as you drop into the brush, triggering people to wonder whether you were hit, whether you fell, whether you tripped like some horror movie victim, would you go ahead and begin your horrid form? You are not, the chances of you being completely unseen are slim and none. You are a large man who ungainly fell as there is an officer behind you attempting to close distance, which is immediately outside of the norm, as instead of checking or attempting to apply life-saving techniques to his partner, it's almost instantaneously understood that his partner is no longer amongst the land of the living. That comes from combat experience, which most officers, which most police never see. Deontay, as you are the big bad guy in this gentleman's life, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and stealth? Marcus, you are not the big bad, and so you are, for all intents and purposes, temporarily invisible. And Mason, where were you attempting to run to again? Toward the tree?
Well,
Marcus?
I was running towards the neighborhood.
Okay, so
his thinking was get to a car, but then he realized he doesn't know how to pick a car. So he was kind of just hoping that the party will,
You are running pell-mell into the Hines neighborhood. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and stealth as well, as you attempt to make yourself as out of sight as possible to find a way to hide. So pretty much everyone is scramming as far away from each other as they possibly can. And like all good upstanding horror stories, this is always best when the party splits up.
As soon as I break contact and get deeper into the trees, I'm going to activate Unseen Passage.
There is nothing that he can do to stop the horror that he is witnessing. Literally, as he makes it to the crest of the trestle bridge, and he is spotting where everyone seems to be taking flight from, Joshua drops and rolls, emerging like some Balrog from the bowels of hell themselves. He manages to keep his composure, but just barely, as he spots a demon rise up, a slug-like, semi-solid bag of death. Most people in a situation like this would immediately beat feet. Others would be triggered to fight. He instead drops into a shooter's crouch and starts aiming center mass to drop it. He does so with a confidence that no sane person should have. As in the distance, you all hear the absence of sirens. You hear diesel engines rushing toward the area. It sounds as if there is a plane landing. Is how loud these diesel engines sound, which means there is more than one and coming as quickly and rapidly as they are able. Hell has been unleashed, and his main lieutenant is Joshua, as he stands in his leech battle form. All semblance of bipedalness of humanity is gone. He looks moist to the touch, soft and globulous, as Ben makes it just inside of a clearly part-time meth lab, closing the door behind her, the fumes smacking her as if she walked into a haymaker from Mike Tyson. While in the neighborhood, Mason begins looking for vehicles or another means of escape, another means of egress, another way to get out of here, because he has managed to stay ahead of the chaos and full force
For once.
of the police. From the line of trees, Marcus is able to see the most ungodly thing he can, because unfortunately the street is slightly raised, and he sees a full service SWAT vehicle, like something out of a SWAT Cats cartoon. It is armored far faster than it should be, and on the side is emblazoned, there is the symbol for the Knights of St. Judas. That same symbol is also very much the centerpiece of the outreach company called Theus. Leonti, having slipped around a corner next to a house and disappeared from sight, watching over his back as Joshua emerges this thing. There's no way to describe it as anything other than that. Trying to put words to it will always fail. When splitting his look behind him where Josh has emerged to out into the neighborhood where Mason is ducking from car to car, moving from garage to garage, looking for something open and a way to get out of the area, you see the one thing you had hoped to never see up close and personal. Being one of the many right-hand enforcers of Pompeo's will, the Baron of South Haven, there is a running tally of people you do not fuck with. One of those people that you don't fuck with is Sash. Strategic action special hazards is the equivalent of a Hell Knight. They are zealots, and they believe in cleaning the area each and every time they go into an operation. They are so heinous in their operations that their actions have to be covered up. There's a gas leak. There was a 10-car pileup. It's always covered up with the most heinous of car accidents, freak accidents that causes a huge loss of life. When they move into the area, they kill everything moving. Doesn't have to be alive, just move. And they make sure that it stops. And they are on their way.
So right now, Mason's not like the forefront thought of the cops. Like he's says that at the definition of stealth away from them for right now.
This immediate second, yes, he is. However, again, if Leonti would be so kind as to inform the coterie, he knows these gentlemen far better than most of the coterie gathered. They are the don't move squad. If it moves, they make sure that it doesn't.
I'm invisible in the tree line looking at the assault vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming a bunch of people are piling out of it.
Yep.
I'm going to just stay very still and invisible for right now and see where they go.
Mason is thinking, maybe there's a family in one of these houses that he could just like ask if he could come in for a second. This was my old home when I was a child. Maybe use like his fame that I forgot to give him.
Joshua's back near the bridge, right?
Yes.
How big is the river exactly?
It's about 4 meters across.
So Joshua could submerge himself in it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. This was actions, then I just try to straight bum rush this guy and take him down into the water with him.
All right. So
Not much he can do.
Mason, would you be so kind as to roll your charisma and persuasion? Leonti?
Is it minus anything, or am I just not ugly or beautiful?
What do you want me to do?
Mason is just charisma and persuasion.
Okay.
Joshua, it is strength and athletics. And Marcus and Leonti, it is dexterity and stealth plus your obfuscate. Total.
Plus my what?
Obfuscate. Dexterity and stealth plus your obfuscate. And Ben.
What's the office gate?
It's the discipline. It's the discipline thing.
Oh, okay.
Points in it.
Got it. Okay, so that would be how much?
And Ben, would you be so kind as to roll your stamina plus your stealth? All right, so Mason, you managed to talk your way into one of the ramshackle homes along the lane. The door closes behind you, and the family is an older gentleman and his wife. They look in their mid to late 60s. You see pictures going back clearly to the Depression. You see pictures of soldiers at war. You see pictures of a family, starting with two boys. Two boys meet wives, join the service. Both look like they went Army. Then you see pictures of weddings for both of the men. Then there's a old funeral picture of the oldest brother in a casket. Family gathered around. You see no children with him or his wife. The younger son, you see a boy and a girl. You see a new car. You see the older couple dying. And down, you see a family life spread out on the pictures of these along the walls. All of the pictures, unlike in most modern household, have been dusted lovingly and making sure that they've been upkept as best as possible. Frames look older than 15, 20 years at best. They're the old, slightly polished wood frames that look like they were hand carved. The furniture is well kept, though threadbare. The rug looks like it's been walked 100 miles or more. It's a well-loved home. And then quietly, with the stomping of boots on the outside of their doors. Just lock the door. The older woman stands in the way watching what happens from the side window next to the door. And the husband regales you with his time in the service, how both of his men serve, how both of his boys serve their country, and talks about his grandkids and his great-grandkids, which don't come to visit them. Wish that they would eventually. But all they want to do is talk on that full computer box, which you look over and you see that it is the old CRT monitor, so there's no way that he actually sees. At best, he might receive an email, but that's a long shot in and of itself. And there's something unsettling about that. You are sure that unlike Mason, these two will die here alone.
Bro, you trying to make me cry? How do you have it? How is it so detailed? Okay, you know what? Mason's like, I want to give these people money. They brought me in with no questions asked and lock the door when all these are good people.
I'm just like, dude, stop playing with my emotions like that. I'm
game's about
listening to this and I'm just listening to this and I'm like, oh, holy shit. Oh, this is
It's intense.
And while that moment is experienced and lived in with Mason, safe and secure inside a home that has experienced the passage of a family, is witnessing its last few moments of a family. Marcus, you are safely inured, safely invisible, just outside of the range of their vision, and you realize they're wearing goggles. They're wearing gas masks. That armor is ballistic. Anything short of a shotgun within 3 feet will probably, at best, chip away the paint. That vehicle clearly weighs roughly 12 tons, which means you are sure that it is laden with all manner of armaments and electronics.
Well, these guys are like Frost on steroids.
And the unsettling part of it all, the truly unsettling part about this, these stormtroopers pouring out of that vehicle, their driver is directing them. He is clearly speaking into what looks like a CB handset, but you know that it's not, because it is not connected by any wires. It's really a box he's holding in his hand, and he's looking out of the front window, scanning the street, and watching as he's speaking into this wireless handheld, and he's pointing toward the garage where Ben was. On top of the vehicle, there's a small reticule-like turret that's aimed directly at that garage. It is picking up something. Something is standing out about it, and they are beginning to swarm in that direction. They're moving past where Mason just disappeared into, to the house next door to it, and they're forming Killbox.
Okay, so I'm still at the tree line looking at the truck. The driver is still in the truck.
Yes.
But everybody else scampered. Everybody else is doing their surrounding thing.
Yes.
Well, that, because I still have all the goodies that I was building earlier.
Here or now or never.
What doors are still open on the truck? Did they close the rear ramp or the driver and passenger side doors?
There is the side door that they were exiting out of. They didn't exit from the back or the rear of the vehicle. They all came out of the side. You know that there is a rear door on that particular vehicle. You've seen specs for it when you were searching for the specs for that camera.
But the side door is still open. Where they deployed from?
Yes.
My invisible ass going to walk slowly, carefully, next to the truck, out of line of sight from the driver, and it's going to break my invisibility, but I'm going to throw my backpack in there, and then I'm going to run away and speed dial the bomb.
And then get flame morphered. I'm joking.
In that case, I do need a roll from you. you will need 3 successes on a dexterity and athletics for me. And while you make that roll, you slide along to Leonti. You know what those men are. You know what this group of men and women do. They end things and they move right past the home Mason disappeared into. They're nodding and pointing and regrouping. And you know if you move at the merest inch, they will be on you like clockwork. Like ugly on an ape, like white on rice. Leonti, what is it that you are attempting to do?
I'm missing
Holy shit.
We run away.
Goddamn.
So that's a lot of successes.
I got hit the guy straight in the nose with a backpack.
No, his head, he throws it so hard, his head just pops up, and now the head is the backpack. Whoever is in there.
Well, no, I threw it into the back of the truck, so... but my runaway giggling in glee as I speed dial the bomb is going to be interesting.
Leonti, you're posted up, you're not moving.
Who, me?
Leonti.
Oh.
I pull out my sniper, but I'm not planning on firing. I'm using it as a I'm just using it for its scope to see, so that I can have a visual on stuff for now, at least.
Okay. So using your position as an overwatch, you watch as Marcus appears just within your view, and we will shift our gaze to Joshua. There is something horribly wrong about a person looking at what you've become, and their first reaction is to aim center mass. Not only is it disconcerting, it is painful as all get out as the slugs meet you as you meet him. Nothing has ever burned or hurt as much as the slugs that tear through your flesh.
Wait, mine?
No, Joshua.
Okay, I was just about to say, like, what's going on?
As you crash against him and you all go over into the water, you realize that that's probably the worst thing to do when you are hit with a blessed cesium shell. Would you roll your stamina, Josh? It is going to be your resolve and stamina as the shells hit you, inflicting 2 aggravated as you hit him and tear him completely out of his shoes. Luckily, you don't need to breathe because as you hit the water, the cesium.
No. I more than that. I was rolling blood rush. That's my actual roll.
So your beast reached further to the floor, and you hit the water as the cesium explodes from you in a spray that sends torrents of water up as if it was a singing fountain. You and he roll into the water, him trying to establish a distance between you because the thing begins to burn. Medical knowledge kicks in. There's only one that sets off even more in water.
I don't think Josh should be able to do much else but scream in pain.
They said dead men don't tell tales. You're an undead man, and the tale that you tell after this makes someone nauseous burst into flame, considering that you are burning underneath water. The raw damage to your flesh, you know, will take days. The fact that this man, even underwater, is attempting to establish distance so they can get off a clear shot leaves little to the imagination that he is not in fact the specter of death himself who has come for Joshua's life.
Whenever he gets his bearings back, try to use his even more dangly and stretched out boneless arms to grab him. Get some blood back for all the pain he's caused him.
Thanks, then. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and strengthen that?
Would I still get that grappling bonus? Yeah, the 100. Don't you roll it or just bet that?
No, go ahead and reroll what you
Aren't you breaching the masquerade actually right now?
Not with hunters.
Well, that cop might not be a hunter. Probably is.
That worked out for you. You didn't get less. And as you seized him and sink fangs, the water still spouting and erupting and dancing along the surface as if there is a whirlpool happening underneath it. We switch gaze. Inside you have found an out-of-the-way garage bin. You and Silk's driver, you're doing your best to keep him alive because in the truth, it's not the bullets that kill you, it's the shock. It's the not realizing that all it requires is to find your peace, to find your calm long enough for your body to do what bodies do, which is fight to live. In his case, the stress, the continued blood loss hits Ben's nose just as she's finally acclimating to the scent of chemical death, which is what it takes to cook it up. This is literally the decimation of something's soul. This is the chemical byproduct of the waste that is set in and starts to root out all life in Gary. Situations like this, situations like Silk's training of donors. It'll be just like the steel mills all over again. Hiring people by droves, and then as they die, placed, go, market dips out, market bottoms out, and there's always this. Looking at the setup, Ben knows that while it's a part-time cook set, it has been well used and often used. The sound of boots outside the door. And you realize that his cries for help, while to Ben, are soft and murmured whispers. To anyone not caught up in the moment, to not caught up in the stress of being hunted, might as well be a red flag if they're waving before a bull. What is Ben's actions?
This one's a hard one because she wants to keep him alive, but at the same time, it's might come down to him or her, and she would always choose herself. Can I tell why he's still in pain? I know Josh tried to patch him up, but where is he still bleeding from?
He's bleeding from his upper right shoulder blade, his left rib area, and there's a pelvis. That combined with a very real, acrid, acidic stench like said, he is entering a drug-induced fantasy with fumes are enough to take him out of the moment is his subconscious working against his conscious. Out of the moment is him experiencing his death happen. Out of the moment is him at the backside of beyond calling for help. Just don't let me die. I've done my best. Don't let me die. I don't want to die. I don't have any friends. All my friends have probably gone to hell. I can't take going to hell. That's the reason why I made my deal to begin with. I just want to live a little bit longer. My life is over like this. I've served well. I've fought for my country. Yeah, I got a dishonorable discharge, but that's because my CEO was involved with the black market. I did the right thing. I ratted them out, and they got rid of me. I can't believe this. I've done everything I could to help everybody else.
She rips part of her shirt and shoves it in his mouth to muffle him because she really doesn't want to kill him.
I hear it. There is a sound that every person who has ever served they know the sound of their child. It is the racking of the ground. It is not the
She is going to get as low and flat as she can, behind as much as she can, and put as much between them and the door and the the meth lab as she can.
Would you be so kind as to roll intelligence and academics? You only need one success, so just as long as you don't fail.
What a bestial.
There are certain things that don't mix. Certain things that are the absolute definition of wrong. One of those things would be a meth lab and firearm discharge. That is an immediate cocktail for so much wrong, and so much fire, and so much death. If they fire into this building, the only thing that may make it out of here are the remnants of the driver. Ben knows that kindred are especially prone to combustion.
Is there another door, or is it attached to another building?
It is a shed-like garage, which means you know that with Ben's strength, she can take out the back, break out the window. She could make small work of this building. And that's the part that scares me. She can't. The shell that they fired will pass through this as if it was tissue paper.
I can't be caught in the building. She's gonna grab him the best she can and try to break out the back. I mean, is there a way to hear? I'm assuming they have it surrounded, right? Or as close to surrounded as they can get.
It definitely sounds like it. You can hear the boots having stopped. You can hear pain. I'm gonna just go for it. She's gotta get out of here, so she's gonna bust through in a spot that it seems like they weren't in and run. Is she going to drop him and run, or is she going to take the added weight to carry it with her?
If I use fleetness, it only slows me by half. And she's typically fast anyway, because I have both fleetness and what is the other one? Rapid reflexes. So I'm gonna use all the speed I can muster and keep him with me, because then we're not going through all this just to leave him behind.
All right. Well, that being the case, go ahead, roll dexterity and athletics, add your celerity, and Leonti, you see them circling around the garage where Ben just disappeared into. You know that there is only so much that building can withstand, and that so much is not anything that they're carrying. They are carrying large bore, full out combat rifles. They have come to do as much harm, as much damage as they are able. Is there anything that Leonti would like to do from his overwatch position?
Okay, so could I get a rundown of the actual end of these enemies and their relation to him? I want to know.
No, go on.
I was just wondering what the extent of can he see them, and is he in a position where if he would say shoot his sniper, would he be able to find cover quickly before they could say oh, he's over there, I see him over there?
The moment he fires his rifle, he will be immediately exposed. No time for him to do much of anything except for either fire or stay hidden. That is a large bore rifle in a very close proximity to well-trained troops.
I see. Yeah, I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
He was hired by Mason.
What if the AUG has a silencer?
Yeah.
Sorry?
What if the has a silencer suppressor?
Suppressing just suppresses the muzzle flash, so it makes it a little difficult, but unfortunately you are still within a small community, small area. There is no way to fire that without being
Okay.
That's right.
Well, he does have. He'll-
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because media
Well, he has.
makes silencers like so overpowered, but they're not that overpowered.
Yeah.
No, they're
Okay.
for long distances.
Yeah. The only thing the only thing that would be, I was like, well, maybe, but then I was like, nah, is because he has the silence of death. But I don't think a muzzle would make it quiet enough for him to be for that to affect.
Nope.
Go into effect.
The moment he fires, that is the most aggressive action possible, the taking of life. There is a balance in terms of the metaphysical. Actions such as that remove all sorts of protections, all sorts of obfuscations of actions.
There was
That's
sorry,
You
go
were
ahead.
saying,
sorry.
Josh? No, you were saying?
I'm pretty sure there was an elder power that used to just silence everything, no matter what, back in the old systems. That would probably work, but not normal silence of death.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's fine. He'll keep his Overwatch on and just
Okay.
and keep monitoring because as you said, his contract, the person who he has a contract with is neither he or I don't think the other person who.
No, I contracted you to protect me and my allies.
You mean your ally or allies?
Allies.
Okay, so.
The Coterie members, too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right now, he's gonna keep Overwatch on and keep a.
All right. So
He's gonna keep Overwatch until he sees them fire. Then he's gonna shoot. Where is he exactly?
he is out of the way, across the street, next to a house. And as he's waiting for them to fire, as it always does in moments such as this, several things happen at once. The back wall erupts. They pull the trigger, or at least attempt to pull the trigger, as many of them are knocked to the ground. Joshua, I need you to roll resolve and composure to keep from draining the officer that you're completely caught up with to death. Unless, of course, you don't want to bother trying to save his life alive, because the world outside of the river erupts in a bright yellow-orange flame. Behind Ben, being as she's moving as quickly as possible, she does not have to. But even knowing that the explosion that was expected, Marcus didn't expect it to be that large. Marcus didn't expect the vehicle to have its own explosive ordinances, unaware as to what they really were. This is a death squad. This is not just hunters. These are people that are designed to destroy, and they come loaded for bear. Would you be so kind as to roll your resolve +1, because you did expect the explosion. Leonti, however, you did not expect that the moment that the shed erupted in slivers, that the world would feel as if it was in the midst of a mushroom cloud. Would you be so kind as to roll resolve +1, because you are looking through the scope, so it is magnified several times. So the very real specter of death and fire, the very real specter of your just deserts after a life of warfare, come home to roost.
Oh, you're talking to me, right?
Yes.
So for making a shot, right?
No. Resolve and composure. The world around you erupts in flame. You are able to see as they're fired and dead go, preparing to pull the trigger, and there's nothing wall of flame and.
Okay.
Big Frankenstein from Hotel Transylvania.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what you're asking me to do.
Resolve
Asking me to roll. Okay, resolve plus what?
Composure.
Okay, that is going to be. Oh yeah, I know. And then +1 because I'm looking through a scope. If I heard, or no?
No, the +1 was for Marcus. He expected
Okay.
not for it to be as large as it is, but he was expecting an explosion.
Yay! This is fun. I got a crit on that. Critical.
Wow.
Yes, those are thirst stats. There we go. All right. So, Even underneath water, knowing that the world was aflame, it is a very scary thing, considering that your insides are burning and bubbling as you manage to keep from divesting this particular man of his life. He is completely at your mercy. And you find a thread of humanity, Joshua, just enough as you glance skyward outside of the water, and everything is awash in flame. It looks as if the itself is on fire. It sends a thread and thrum of fear to you, because while death has always been an option, it being so close as you could reach out and touch it, another matter entirely. Marcus, you expected the explosion to happen, that it should disable the vehicle. You're not immediately aware that inside the vehicle held their own explosive ordnance. The combination of that sends the shrapnel of the vehicle, which is designed to withstand, short of mortar fire, most caliber firearms. The tires, the windshield, designed to be fort. At least that's what the promise of the vehicle was. However, in practical application, it is a tuna can, M80 inside, in shards and pieces skyward as well as outward in concentric waves. And Leonti, you stared down death more times than you possibly consider. You have managed to look the Grim Reaper dead in the eye and tell him he doesn't have the strength of heart, bravery of soul to drag you with himself into hell. This is no less different. As the world erupts, be so kind of go ahead and roll resolve plus firearms as you take the shot, managing to not be bowled over, to not be impressed. Oh yeah, mushroom cloud. Whatever. What is it, Tuesday?
Composure plus firearms, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard that correctly. That would be 9.
And you fired. You hit what looks to be the leader as he's being bowled over, square between third and fourth vertebrae. Is a paralyzing shot that would kill on the exit wound. The shell embeds itself in the armor, doesn't pierce.
So it wasn't. So it embedded itself in the armor. Well,
Yes.
that's a little annoying.
It is greatly annoying. They've upgraded their armaments. They are problematic. And Ben, the world erupts in a sonic wave. You knew that you were fast, didn't know that you were fast enough to cause the world to shake in your wake. You glance back as all sorts of sounds of firearms and a wind tunnel erupt. You moved as quickly as you were able, and you pushed yourself even further. The night is awash. There's nothing but death for you. You managed to get him far enough away that you're able to safely look at what happened behind you. You've seen sites of explosions, seen them up close and personal. You even managed to cause a few yourself. Never managed to cause an explosion that large. There is nothing but wreck, and the houses nearby look as if they have been firebombed. And we turn our gaze to Mason. You and the gentleman were upstairs, and he was showing you the Medal of Valor, his oldest son, one in the showing you the newspaper article that his second son, his youngest son, had written about him. It was about his time and how he turned a failing hardware into a successful business. It's one of the few local businesses that managed to survive the initial layoffs and firings from U.S. Steel. He says, now this one here, this one made it to the Gazetter. It was carried in the Chicago Sun-Times. I got a copy of this Sun-Times article right here. He opens the drawer, and the world erupts in pain.
Yep.
There's a bright flash, and the sound comes seconds later. Only Mason's dead flesh protect him from the initial damage to his eardrums, the structural damage that mortal, that he can shrug that off. He's been there, he's done that. He's been set aflame, he's been shot, he's been stabbed, he's been driven off cliffs, he's been poisoned, he's been drowned. He has been through the ring, and there's nothing more painful for him than realizing.
Does it sound fire? I want to know this story. Okay, anyways.
There's nothing more painful that he's experienced than sitting there in their office chair, in their bedroom, and realizing that if the damage was enough to cause shrapnel and splinters and damage to his eardrums from where he is on the side of the wife was standing in the doorway. And with that, I want to thank you all for a lovely session and see you all next time. Good night, everybody.